Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day, and today I'm going to be talking about Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to Six of Crows, so if you didn't read the first book, I recommend that you don't listen to this review because I will be spoiling obviously the first book, but not this one. At the beginning of this book, we are a few days away from the ending of the first book. So Inej has been captured. Van Eyck didn't keep his promise of giving them, I think it was 40 million Kruge, and I don't know if that is how you say that word, Kruge or Kruge, I don't know. But the money wasn't given, even though they did their part in the Ice Court heist. So Kaz and his crew have to find a way to save Inej and also get their money back because they went through a lot of trouble to break into the Ice Court. There were so many twists and turns in this book, and I didn't think it would be possible because in the first book there were already so many twists, and there were even more twists in this book, and it was just incredible. I did not see any of them coming. I don't know why, but at some point I just stopped being surprised of the twist, but it was just really satisfying to see them happen because like you want something to happen, like a twist or something, or just a turn of events, and it happens and you just didn't know how it would happen, but it does, and it's just so satisfying. So that's all I'm going to say to not get too spoilery. There were a lot more action in this book than in the first one, which I really liked. It's not only a big heist. So in the first book it was more like a one epic adventure, and in this book it's a lot of little epic adventures. So it was more interesting in that point because you get to see a lot more different characters and different point of views. So that was really interesting. The only thing that bothered me in this book was the ending. I wish there would be an epilogue or something to wrap it up because I really feel like it is unfinished. I feel like we didn't get enough of the story somehow. Maybe I'm just being picky, but I just wish there was a little bit more to the story to wrap it up because most characters are left unfinished, and it triggers me. But maybe she decided to write it that way because maybe they will be brought back in King of Scars. I don't even know. I haven't read that book yet, but it's on my TBR, that is for sure. Kaz is a beautiful mastermind, and it is crazy to me. I know it's all fiction, but it is crazy to me that a 17-year-old can think of all of this and to just mastermind it all and just trust his crew to do what he says without questioning. That was really funny. All of the intricacies of his brain and everything that he thought of, all the ways to get out of a problem, all the ways to get out of a death or whatever, it was so interesting. I wish I had that kind of brain because that would be so cool. I would probably be in prison if I had that kind of brain, so well, maybe not, because I would think of all the ways to not get caught. Inej is my favorite character of all time because she is so cool. I wish I was like her, and I'm sure I said that in my first video review of this series. She is just so skilled, and in the first book you don't explore it a lot. You just know that she's a really good spy and that she can not be seen and chooses where to be seen. I'm not explaining that very well, but in the second book you discover that she has a lot more skills, and it's so interesting. I'm not going to talk about it because it is spoilery, but her fighting skills are incredible. She has so many skills, and it was just really nice, and you understand why Kaz absolutely wants her on his team because she is an incredible asset to their team. Now let's talk about the relationships, because obviously we have Matthias and Nina, who are I love them so much. They, in the first book, well, still in this one, but in the first book they were enemies to lovers, and it is still enemies to lovers. In this book, we don't get the enemies that much. It is more turned into lovers, obviously, because the relationship evolves, but it is still really realistic in the sense that they don't agree on everything because they are still enemies in their spirit and in their values. So it was really interesting to have them confront each other with their values and how they see certain people, how Matthias see Grisha, how Nina sees Druskel. I don't know how to say that word. Druskel? I don't know. But yeah, it was really interesting to see both their point of views on that and to have that relationship stay really realistic. Because if it was just like a normal love story where they would just be in love and be like in the honeymoon kind of phase, it would have been not interesting. There are so many things happening all at once. They don't have time to like just kiss and make up all the time. So yeah, Kaz and Inej are babes. It is, I love them so much. In the end of the first book, you get to understand that both of them are really into each other and that they just don't want to acknowledge it for some reason. And in the second book, you understand really why they struggle to be together and to be in a relationship. And it was so interesting. You already kind of know because of Kaz's trauma when he was a child that he cannot touch anyone with his bare hands because it reminds him of all the corpses that were piled up with him when the plague happened. And so he is really traumatized by that, and so he cannot touch anyone without wanting to puke. Basically. For Inej, you get to understand more in the second book why she has struggles to get into a relationship with Kaz and to get intimate with him. So it's really interesting to see both point of views because they want it. They both want to be together and they struggle so hard to do so. And that is, yeah, I'm gonna shut up now. I also want to talk about Violin and Jasper in the relationships because we get to know these two a lot more, and it was kind of hinted at in the first book that they were kind of into each other, and I don't know if it's spoilery because it doesn't change the course of the story at all. It's not spoilery in terms of what happens in the book. I am going to talk about it just because I have seen people talk about it in their book reads reviews and they were not hidden by the spoilery thing. So I'm guessing that it's not a big deal if I talk about it. But Violin and Jasper were just so cute. I love it so much. And it was really hard for Jasper for this book because Violin has become the face of Kuwei to trick Vanek afterwards in the end of the first book, as we all know. So Violin doesn't have his face, and so I feel like it's a more genuine and intimate relationship that they've developed because it is not, well, Jasper was into Violin when he was looking the way that he was looking, but you get to know him more because you don't pay attention to his face because it's not his. I have 3 pros for this book and 1 con, even though I give this book a full 5 stars. It is not a con that was too distracting, so yeah. The first pro I have is the story. Obviously, I really loved it more this one than the first one, as I said before, because there are a lot more things happening all at once, not all at once, but one after the other. So you don't have just one big heist. It is many little adventures that you have to go through, and it's really interesting because you get to see more characters. That is kind of my other point. All the character development, it is incredible. And my third pro for this book is the ending. I really feel like it wraps up the series, well, the story well, because it is hard to wrap up a story in any series, whether it's a trilogy, a 6-book series, or a 2-book duology. It can be really hard to wrap up a story and to make it really interesting but also satisfying. So I really am proud of the story, how it ended and everything, because there are a lot of character developments that get recognition at the end. And yeah, but I do wish that there would be a little bit more. My only con for this book was there were some descriptions of things that were not that interesting to me, because they didn't really bring up anything more to the actual story. It was a lot more world building, and I don't know why, but I was not that interested into Ketterdam and Kirch for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I preferred I did prefer Ravka's world building and like the political aspects of it and everything in the Grisha trilogy. So maybe that's why I don't like Kirch or Ketterdam as much. But it was still interesting. I still read it, but it was just less interesting to me to read about it because it didn't bring anything more to the story. Overall, I really love this book, and if you have not been convinced yet to read it, well, I don't know what to tell you, because technically you've already read the first book, so you should want to read the second book to know what happens to Inez and if she dies or not, because that was my main concern when I ended the first book, and so I had to read the second book right away. I am really excited for King of Scars. I don't know if I'm going to read it right away because the second book is coming in March, I believe, so maybe I will wait in March to read both of them together, not together, but just one after the other. I know that it's going to be at least a trilogy, so I'm going to have to wait another year anyways to have the final book, but I think I'm still going to wait until the second book comes out to at least binge the first two. So that was it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Tell me down below if you have read this book, what you thought of it. Was it as satisfying as you thought it would be? Tell me what you liked, what you didn't, and I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.